Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one of several videos on factoring polynomials. And now that we're getting more complex polynomials, you'll notice that we're going to be doing a lot more with greatest common factors in them. Okay? So anyways, let's get started here. Here was problem 19 on today's worksheet. Now normally, I taught you, if you see 15n squared, we would start out by maybe doing 3n times 5n, right? Now, it'll work, but before we do that, guys, we have a new rule. Before we try to do FOIL backwards, let's try to do a greatest common factor. So if we look at the numbers 15, 81, 84, what number divides all three numbers? Hopefully you agree 3 is my GCF, right? My greatest common factor here. So let's just follow through on this. Hopefully you agree 5n squared times with 3 is 15n squared. Minus, because there's a minus there, we know 3 times 27n is 81n. We have a plus 84 here, right? So 3 times 28, I believe, is 84. And again, if you need to, you can always just multiply forward again, just to make sure you have the right factors in there. Okay? So now that I've done that 3, we're going to ignore that 3 now and just factor what's inside the parentheses. We'll come back to the 3 later, as you probably should know. But anyways, isn't 5n squared, for example, 5n times n? Isn't 28 normally 4 times 7? So let's see if we can't make this work. The 4 will give me a 4n in the middle, notice. The 7 times 5 will give me 35. Uh-oh. 4 and 35 can't make 27, can they? Alright, so let me back up here. Again, hopefully you realize that 4 times 7 did not work, did it? So instead of 4 times 7, let's try 7 times 4. Alright, let's see what we get this time. We get a 7n in the middle now. And 4 times 5 is 20n. Can I get a minus 27 with 20 and 7? Yeah, if I make them both negative, I'll have a negative 20 minus 7, which of course is negative 27. So all I need to do is make these both negatives. And not only do I have that part factored, but now guys, don't forget the 3 in front. And this right here is the complete factorization of our original problem up here. So pause the video and see if you understand all the steps I made. Okay, so before we do one more problem, guys, I just want to remind you basically with clarity, what was step 1 right there? We did a GCF, right? So that's our new rule. We're always going to try to do a GCF. That's our step 1. Okay? And then our step 2 is what I taught you weeks ago, using FOIL backwards or distributed property backwards, okay? With the parentheses. All right, so let's try it one more time. So again, what was our step 1 for this problem right here? First, we're going to do a GCF first, right? So let's look at our numbers. 6, 68, 160. Now what I notice is that they're all even. So why don't we start by doing a GCF of 2? Oh, almost forgot. Not only are we going to do 2, but notice how they all have n's in them, guys. So we're going to do a 2n, okay? And let's see what we get now. We're going to get 3n squared. Again, 2n times 3n squared is 6n cubed. We're going to get a minus because that minus right there. We're going to get a 34n because 2 times 34 is at 68n squared, right? And finally, we're going to get a plus 80 because 80 times 2n is at 160n. Alright, so now that we have that factored with GCF, can we do something with what's in the parentheses here? Well, let's try 3n times n for 3n squared. Let's try 8 times 10 for 80. And let's see what we get here. 3 times 10 is 30n. 8n in the middle. Can 30 and 8 make 34? No, it doesn't. Okay, so let me back up here. So that didn't work, did it? So how about instead of 8 times 10, let's do 10 times 8. Well, the 10 here will give me 10n in the middle now. 8 times 3 is 24n. Can we get a minus 34 with 10 and 24? If we make them both negative, do we not get negative 10, negative 24, negative 34? So, all I need is a negative there, a negative there. Let's bring the 2n down from the original problem. And this right here is the final factored form of the original expression. So until next time, guys, bye.